We're the Upper Hutt Forest and Bird, and for some years now we've been working with the Regional Council who allocate grants, particularly for work with degraded stream beds.
And what are you most proud of?
When I look back on the photos that we took early on, it's just such an enormous transformation, and I didn't realise that it would be possible to do it on such a large scale with such a relatively small group, because the majority of our folk have been with us right from the start, and that's 10 years, and we're all retired basically, one or two who still work, but they're all very enthusiastic. It's a very pleasant way to spend some time with people who you enjoy and who think the same way and like to see things growing. And the birds are certainly back. There's a lot more bird food now. There was nothing much before. There's a lot of flax. There's heaps of kowai, so there's plenty of bird food from now on, and a lot of these sort of sized trees are producing a lot during the year. When there are willows on the side, their roots hold the banks and they spread out into the river, but they make a solid mat, and small fish and other invertebrates can't burrow into these. They're just absolutely solid. Now that the willows have gone and their roots have gone, the bank is admittedly a bit more vulnerable because it's no stone in it, it's very muddy. But the wetland plants on the side hold that pretty well, and they flow out over it and make lovely cool sheltered areas for the fish to hide and the small things to thrive in. And the bonus for this was about a year ago we suddenly realised that a lot of our areas we'd planted in, and they're not necessarily shaded completely, it's just the edges, have suddenly become stony again. We no longer have the water weed, which used to be a total mat, growing all down, and it's just gone. This is the fish passage, which was installed about 6-7 years ago now. At the top of this broken water here, there's a smooth line, which is actually an old pipe, which is used to across the creek, so it can't be removed. And below that previously, there used to be a steep drop, complete undercut drop of about 2 metres. So to fill this in, some very large boulders were taken up with a digger and stacked tightly on top of each other and graded down gently right back down to almost where we are here. Now the fish ladder's in place, they come up that quite happily and disappear off up the creek.
What do you say to somebody who's starting out and have a big project ahead? How do they begin? In a small way. Go and look at what other people are doing, how they've spaced out their work and what they've found difficult, and the things you don't necessarily factor in, like care of plants afterwards for quite a few years, is so necessary. And if you can't be sure of doing that, do a smaller piece. Better to do a small piece and make sure it gets done well than to try and put lots of plants in. That's where a lot of people come unstuck. It's an ongoing thing, and we do want to save what we can of our amazing fauna and flora in New Zealand.